Circling back, looking at number 3, we got 2 stories, we got 2 equations, we got to decide which is which, why one needs parentheses, why it doesn't, and then solve. So let's start with reading this first one. The initial freshman class at a college is 10% smaller than last year's class. But then, during the first week of classes, 20 more students enroll. There are then 830 students in the freshman class. Okay, so let's look down here and see what we think might represent that. Okay, so we had 20 more students enroll. So I'm leaning toward the plus 20 right now just because of the 20 more part that it mentions right here. So, you know, 0.9 times x would represent 90% of last year's class. And if x is representing last year's class, this expression would represent a 10% drop because we're 90% of what we used to be, plus the extra 20 that enrolled the first week of classes. So I'm really leaning toward this one matching up with 0.90x plus 20 equals the total of 830. Let's look and read the other one and see if it makes sense too. A store reduces the price of a computer by $20. Then, during a 10% off sale, a customer pays $830. So I think the price needs to get reduced by 20 before the 10% hits it. And so that's what is showing it here. You know, this is like the original price. We take $20 off, and then 90% times that is representing us only paying 90%, so 10% off of it. So that makes sense for that one to match 0.9 times x minus 20. And we need the parentheses here because that $20 has to be deducted before you do the percentage. So that kind of answers B, okay? So while one equation has parentheses, the other one doesn't, you say the $20 must be deducted first. Okay, so that's why we have to have the parentheses on that one. Decide which equation represents the stories. I think we've done that one. The first one represents the first equation, the second one represents the second equation, and now we solve. So let's go through the solving process. Let's start with the first one up here. 0.9x is going to be equal to 810 because you take 20 away from both sides, and then you do 810 divided by 0.9. 810 divided by 0.9, and in this particular case x is 900. So last year we had 900 students enroll last year. And for the other one, when we solve the red one over here, we know that it's 830. I would start by dividing by 0.9, so 830 divided by 0.9. Let's find out what the group needs to equal. The group needs to equal 922 and 2 tenths repeating. So 922.2 tenths repeating is what the group needs to equal. And so you add 20 to that, so x is going to be 20 more than that. So add 20, and this tells me the price that it was before. So $942.20 was the price originally. And that answers C for that one. So that was the price of the computer in the first place, and this is how many students were enrolled last year. And that finishes up question number 3.